Westworld is HBO's latest series, and it's hoped by HBO as a possible replacement to the legendary amazingness of Game of Thrones, which is the network's flagship. As it approaches its last couple of seasons, HBO needs a new flagship program, and Westworld, well, it was hoped to be that, and oh boy is this show great. I mean, 2016 has been a pretty shit year. I mean, fuck you 2016, but this is the best thing to come out of this year, is this new television program, which is produced by Jonathan Nolan, who is the brother of Christopher Nolan, who's behind the Dark Knight, Inception, Interstellar, all those great movies. Westworld is based on Michael Crichton's 1973 film Westworld. Now, if the name Michael Crichton sounds familiar, there's good reason for that, as he is the author behind Jurassic Park, and Westworld has many similarities with Jurassic Park. For one, they are both theme parks based on the old, long-forgotten pasts, Jurassic Park being the dinosaurs, and Westworld being the Old West. And both parks are run by bigger-than-life, elderly people, with Jurassic Park run by Richard Hammond and Westworld run by Robert Ford, who was played superbly by Anthony Hopkins. Now, the name of his character, it can't be a coincidence. He's named after the person who shot the infamous cowboy Jesse James. Now, while there are many similarities with the two parks, there are a few differences, with Westworld serving as the ultimate video game, where people can visit to live out their violent and sexual fantasies, as well as having the option to go on various missions as well. And the ultimate gamer in this game is the Man in Black, who has completed every mission in the park but one, the maze. The maze is a driving, I guess you could call it a MacGuffin, for the show, as the series is about the robots in the park, the hosts, gaining consciousness. And it's really clever how they go about it. These hosts are human in almost every way, with the exception of the fact that they were built and that they are slaves to their human overlords. Now, Westworld is an incredibly clever and smart show. It actually makes you think of topics you wouldn't usually think of. Like when I finished watching the show, I went on and played GTA, and in the back of my mind while playing was this idea that the artificial people in this game may have actually been conscious and living a normal life in what for us is a fantasy. They also explored the ideas of gods, creation, sentience, evolution, consciousness. And one of my favourite moments in the show was when they talked about Michelangelo's iconic painting of David and God, and how Robert Ford pointed out that what surrounded God was the image of a brain, and that the message being was that sentience and consciousness didn't come from a divine power, but from the brain. And it's insanely clever details like that made me fall in love with the show. And very clever and great dialogue, such as when Ford remarks that Beethoven, Schubert, and Mozart didn't die, they simply became the music. And that's very true. Their names are associated with their music. When you hear their names, you think of The Marriage of Figaro, Moonlight Sonata, and Joe D'Oy, all incredible music. There's some of the greatest music that has ever been composed, and some great references to Shakespeare as well, with a repeated quote of "These violent delights have violent ends." A quite ominous quote that plays a lot into this show. The show is also consumed with great mysteries and twists that are curtailed throughout the season, and when these twists are executed, they are done superbly. And now, thanks to HBO, I hate doors. First Game of Thrones, and now this, fuck doors! And as I have mentioned, there is superb acting from Harris, Jeffrey Wright, Anthony Hopkins. Everyone was great. They all play very complex and very intriguing, great characters. Hopkins is incredible. His character is larger than life, who sees himself as a god, and I can see why he would see himself as a god. He is a god. He literally created a park. He's a very grave figure. you kind of hate him at times, but then you kind of find yourself rooting for him. His character is very much like Walt Disney. I'm not talking about Walt Disney the legend. I'm talking about Walt Disney the man. As the two are very alike, and his frequent clashes with the board, Delos, further acts as a metaphor for, well, television, actually, between the executives who care about making money and the artists who care about making their stories. Ford, in this case, who states that he just simply wants to tell his stories. Or does he? Bernard, Logan, William, the Man in Black, Dolores, and Maeve are also great, complex characters, and the mystery of Arnold and who he is also greatly handled, and I love the show's soundtrack. Especially the readaptation of, well, more modern songs such as Fake Plastic Trees into this classical 1800s kind of music style. By far the best of these classical piano adaptations of these more modern songs was the readaptation of the Rolling Stones classic song Painted Black. It was a brilliant adaptation, and it was brilliantly used in this, well, brothel heist scene. Painted Black suits the Old West, and by using these more modern songs in an 1800s-like environment, it becomes clear that this world isn't real, as these songs shouldn't belong in that era. There's one thing I didn't really like in the show. It was Felix and Sylvester. First off, they're named after cartoon cats. And secondly, they're fucking stupid. Have they never seen the Terminator? What they did is exactly what you don't do with sentient robots. I mean, you just don't do that. And as Maeve points out, you are a truly awful human. Or she said terrible human being. But she meant it as a compliment. Me, I use it as an insult, you idiot. Overall, Westworld Season 1 was brilliant, some of the greatest television out there. It's a perfect replacement for Game of Thrones. In fact, if you compare Westworld Season 1 to Game of Thrones Season 1, I enjoyed Westworld more. And Game of Thrones is my all-time favorite show. If Westworld maintains this level of brilliance and actually improves, then who knows, maybe this could trump it. Unfortunately, we have to wait till 2018 till Season 2. Wow, so long. Well, I have Game of Thrones Season 7 to get me through it. But if you haven't seen it, get out there, go and watch it. There is plenty of time between now and Season 2. And in Season 2, there's going to be a frickin' samurai world as well, which is amazing. Overall, Season 1 gets a 5 out of 5. It's a brilliant show with great potential, and I love the way the first season was handled. Great performances all around, a great story. Go watch it. Thank you guys, and if you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more.